The Korn concert was simply amazing. The pit on the lawn was going crazy for the older songs, and standing on the edge of the pit was Sigourney screaming at the top of her lungs, banging her head when suddenly she felt him. Darren, a metalhead with long hair, thrashing around in the pit. He noticed her right away as everyone around them was yelling, "Y'all want a single, say fuck that." They fell into each other's arms and kissed like sex-starved animals, continuously lusting for each other, right there in the middle of a Korn pit, totally ignoring the rest of the concert. They continued making out with each other as she started clawing his back. He bit into her lip, drawing blood. She tasted it, got chills, and the hunger in her gut was awakened. They pulled apart just long enough to laugh. They were breathless when the show had ended. They stumbled out of the amphitheater hand in hand. She took him to her apartment, where the sensual lust could continue. As soon as they got in, the kissing began and was sloppy and pure erotic, along with heavy breaths panting. They fell together onto her bed, taking off their clothes. Clumsy and drunk, they were glued together, skin on skin, sweat soaking the sheets. For a moment she felt almost human, but the harsh reality was she was not. She allowed herself to believe she could fall in love, that she could hold a man, that even in the pure darkness of her soul, she still could find the one. The lust continued as his scent rushed up her nose and made her mouth water in delight. His pulse pounded loudly in her ears, and the beat of his jugular just like a corn drum throbbed against her lips. And then her fangs came out, piercing and digging into her bottom lip. She tried to stop it, but the beast inside her was scratching too loud. And as she felt herself climax, she didn't hear him. She looked down and Darren was long dead before she came back to her senses. He was sprawled out on the bed, lifelessly laying across the sheets. His throat was torn wide open, the jugular vein had already emptied out and her bed was soaked with his warm fresh blood. His eyes were wide open with the final look of terror. She sat on the edge of the bed, with her hands grabbing her head, shaking nervously. Her mouth was still smeared with his blood. She curled into a fetal position, laying on top of the sadly soaked memory of a good night that went horribly wrong. The empty apartment was eerily silent. A place where she thought love was finally happening now felt like a deserted tomb with the corpse of a person who might have been her long-lost true love. Tears quickly were falling from her eyes, as she quietly said, "I'll never find a man, he'll never find my one true soulmate." She closed her eyes and started bawling and screaming loudly. But then she started to look out her window, wiping away the tears, and quietly said to herself, "Oh, what the hell, there's always tomorrow." As I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace started to play on her stereo. She crawled into her centuries-old sarcophagus, closed the lid, and the crack of dawn arose. Sigourney, the lonely vampire, will return in Sharp Black Lipstick, a different kind of vampire series written by Frankie Dark Void.